Hello, everyone. My name is Jodi Kateiva. I'm the Scholarship Administrator here at Legacy Foundation. And here is an overview of our 2024 Universal Scholarship Program. Again, on this sheet is my contact information. I encourage you to reach out if you have any questions throughout any of the process of applying. So before we get going, I want to talk a little bit about Legacy Foundation in general for those of you that aren't familiar with what we do. We have a new strategic plan that we are launching the beginning of next year. And so our focus really is going to be strengthening organizations locally, nonprofits. We're going to be connecting communities so we can work with local residents to get connected for change in their own community. We focus on giving locally, whether that's through scholarships or grants to local nonprofits. We hope to help mobilize philanthropy so we can make sure that we have those dollars to give out to our community members. And we support entrepreneurship. In regards to the Legacy Foundation scholarships, what's great is that we have one universal application that students fill out. Through that one application, they can apply for over 45 different scholarships. The scholarships themselves are varied, so they have varied criteria. Some are for Northwest Indiana students, some just for Lake County. We have some that are for high school seniors, some for current college students, and then we have some scholarships that are open for both of those types of students. I do encourage you to look at our scholarship information booklet. It's available online, and that details all of the eligibility criteria for each of the 45 scholarships that we award. The awards are paid to the school, and they can cover tuition, expenses, and room and board, or students can use them as book reimbursement. We do not pay out the scholarship awards directly to students, and these scholarships are going to be good for the 2024-2025 academic year. So we would begin payment in fall of next year. So the application is open now. The deadline to start your application is February 1st, and the deadline to submit and get in all of your third-party requests is February 15th. And we will be doing all of our notifications via email by May 1st. How it works. So again, we have one universal application. Based on your answers, the system automatically determines what scholarships you're eligible for. So throughout the application, it will ask you a number of different questions, and the system itself is kind of responsive. So it will automatically pull you in for the different scholarships that you meet the criteria for. So just to walk you through a little bit, you apply online through our website. You would look at the Apply for Scholarships tab. And then you would begin your application right here. If you have not applied for a scholarship with Legacy Foundation in the past, you would need to create a new login. We ask that you don't use a high school issued email account because we do almost all of our communication via email, and often we have firewalls that will prevent our emails from going through to a high school. So we ask that you use a personal email for this. My personal preference, I always tell students that so you don't get bogged down and lose really important emails, I always suggest that students create one email that's just useful for academic type endeavors. So maybe creating an email that you're only going to use for scholarships, college applications, perhaps job inquiries, and that way it doesn't get clogged up with all of the junk email that you might get in your traditional email. So if you haven't started a process with us, you will need to create a new account. If you have an account and you've forgotten it, there is a forgot your password link that you can click. If for some reason that's not helpful, you can certainly reach out to me and I can reset your password. So you're going to go in and create your profile. We ask that you know, really try and make this as complete and professional as possible, because this is going to be tied to all of your applications. So everything is pulled directly from this. So if you misspell something or something's not capitalized, then all of our communication with you is going to show that way. And we do like to remind students that this application really needs to be completed by students and not parents. Obviously, there's certain portions of the application that you're going to need to get perhaps financial information from your parents, but we ask that parents are not the individuals that are submitting this. We really need the students to do this. And there is an edit your profile button available. So if something changes, perhaps you get a new phone number or a new address, we want to make sure that we have your most current contact information, so you can go onto the top right corner of your screen and you can edit your profile at any time. Once you get onto our website and you create your application or your profile, this is going to be what populates. And so you're going to select apply to get into the Universal Scholarship application. And this is generally what it looks like. I know that it looks long and tedious. I've talked to students and they said that if you have the information readily available, it takes about 2 to 3 hours to complete this. That doesn't include the essays, but those essays are mostly short answer. So it shouldn't take you too long, even though I know sometimes it looks a bit intimidating. If you wanted to get a complete download of the application, you can click that question link if you wanted to get a PDF and see everything. And then again, you can go in and you can expand or close each of these sections to help you navigate through the process. And so what kind of questions are we asking? They're very traditional scholarship questions. We're going to get some demographic information. We're going to ask for scholastic information, so your GPA, your ACT or SAT, if you've taken those, your major, minor, current or intended. I do recommend that even if you're not 100% sure, it's better to put your intended major or what you think it might be, because we do have a lot of scholarships that are tied to major. So if you're 99% sure that you're going to study a science, I would put that in so that you can be included in that applicant pool. We're going to ask college choice, so whether you know what school you're going to or the ones that you intend to apply to. We're going to ask about extracurricular activities, so those affiliated with school, and then as well as volunteer activities you might do with your church, a political group that you work with, or any nonprofit work that you do. There's a section for employment history. We have the essay component, recommendation contacts, and then we have our special criteria scholarship questions. So these are a series of yes/no questions, and these really are what helps us, well, helps the system funnel you into the right applicant pools. We have a number of employer or association scholarships, and so this is where we get more information about those. So student type is going to be one of the main demographic questions that we ask. We want to make sure that you select this first, because the application self-populates based on what you've selected. So even if you are taking dual credit classes and you plan to get your associate's degree while in high school, we still want you to select the high school student option. That will allow you to be eligible for those high school senior only scholarships. And so this is some more information that we asked, demographics. We want to make sure that we're reaching the diverse community of students that reflect Northwest Indiana. So this helps us for our tracking. Another thing that's really interesting, especially this year, is the FAFSA information. So we do ask for a bit of financial information. Some scholarships look at finances and others don't, but it is important to include this information for our review panel. So we're going to ask your family's AGI, which is your adjusted gross income based on their 2022 taxes. If you have questions finding that, you can certainly reach out to me. We're gonna need to know the number of house in your household as reported on your taxes. So generally that's whoever is filing the taxes, and then you add in the number of dependents. So if it's a single parent with 3 children, then the number in household would be 4. If it's a 2-parent household where both are working and they have 3 children, then it would be 5. Parent 1, parent 2, 3 children, 5. Again, if you've got questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. We also want to know how many other family members are going to be enrolled in college for next year. This is important, especially because the FAFSA that has been reinvented this year is not going to take into account if a family has more than one student enrolled in college. But we, in looking at a family's finances, want to make sure that we're considering that. So if you have siblings or parents that are also enrolled in college, please let us know in this section. In regards to the FAFSA, I know the FAFSA is new this year. They're revamping it, which is exciting, but I know has also posed some challenges for individuals. Last we hear, the FAFSA will open up December 31st. From what we are being told, because the FAFSA is now pulling directly from the IRS, all of your financial information, you should be getting an estimated SAI or Student Aid Index fairly soon after you submit. And so that's what we're asking for you to include on your application. So we want you to submit the FAFSA. Even if you're not low income, I think there's a misnomer that the FAFSA is only for low income students, but it really is important to apply for the FAFSA. This is what colleges and universities use for all kinds of aid, including unsubsidized and subsidized loans and work study options. So I really do think it's important for you to fill out the FAFSA. If for some reason you are not going to fill out the FAFSA, then we would want you to please write something up that explains why you're not. And we will take those on a case-by-case basis. Again, some of our scholarships look specifically at finances and others don't. So, we will take that into consideration. So when you submit your information, you should get an email that will have the Student Aid Index. And that's going to be a number starting at negative 1,500 and going up to, however high it might go. So we're going to ask you to enter that number into that FAFSA SAI number. And then when you get the email, or if you get a confirmation of your SAI, we want a screenshot of that uploaded. And again, reach out if you've got any kind of questions about this. We also ask how much estimated financial support you're going to get from others. So this, again, just helps our review panel. You may have a really high SAI, meaning that the federal government thinks that you have a lot of money to go towards college, but you may not have family support. So your parents may have said that they are not going to help you. So this is where you would be able to explain a lot of that. So don't forget to do the estimated financial support, as well as talking us through what your family finances look like in the financial statement. This is also important if something has changed. Perhaps a parent lost a job, got a job, you had a family member move in, anything that's happened since 2022 that might change what your family's finances look like. This is where you would discuss it right here. So SAT and ACT scores, if you have them, we are asking for them, but they are not required. There's only one scholarship that requires an SAT and an ACT score. That's our Cenefac scholarship. That's specifically for children and grandchildren of Lake County government employees. Other than that, or other scholarships don't require them, but our review panel does take those into consideration if you have them when they're looking at their academics. So for extracurriculars, we have a table that we want you to complete. It looks a little bit different. So again, the application is, it's kind of responsive. So things look different for the high school seniors than they do for current college students. So current college students, you're just going to have an essay that you can complete that just has you talk about what you're involved in. For high school seniors, we do want you to complete the activity table, make sure that you're including the name of the activity, the number of years that you've participated in that activity. Even if you haven't done it yet for senior year, but you plan to, you can certainly count, you can count your senior year. Make sure you put the number of months that you are engaged in that activity and how many hours per week it takes generally. And then you can note any leadership roles or special recognition that you've gotten. There is going to be a text box below this where you can elaborate. So if you wanted to talk about something specifically, this is where you can do that, but it is optional for you. For employment, you can upload a resume instead of entering the information separately. You do not need to do both. So this is really for those of you that have a resume that's already written. We just want to make sure that you include the hours per week that you work. Or if you don't have a resume, then you can certainly go in and enter those one by one. Again, you do not need to do both. I don't want you to feel like you have to create a resume just for this. This is really just a time saver for students. We understand that you have a lot on your plate and we're trying to make the application as easy as possible. So if you have that document, certainly go ahead and use it, but don't create one, please. So for the essays, these are kind of short answer essays. There's one mandatory essay that we want everyone to answer. And so that's, what are your future goals and where do you see yourself in 10 years? And then there are 2 additional essay questions that we want you to answer. Each of these should be from 350 to 500 words approximately in length. We do mirror a lot of the essays that are on the Common App that you might have used to apply for college. We do this again as a time saver. So if you already have one of these essays done, then that's great. You can use that. And so you only have to do 2 of one of those 6. We've got transcript and recommendation profile requests, so third-party requests. So this is something that we use that is almost like our version of a recommendation letter. So first I'll talk about transcripts. So for high school seniors, we actually have your school guidance counselor upload your transcripts for you. We connected with guidance counselors and they said that that was actually easier for them than sending those transcripts out to students and having students upload them themselves. So within the application, you will have to put your school guidance counselor's email so that they can do that. For current college students, we ask that you upload your own transcripts. For the recommendation profile, so this is our version of a recommendation level letter. We have an example on the next page. So all the applicants, you'll have to put 2 people, you'll have to put their email into the system. The minute you enter and email them, it will be launched and they'll have access to do those. These requests are due to Legacy by February 15th. And on one hand, I want to make sure that you get these in early so that they have plenty of time to do them. But also, please don't waste people's time. So if you're not 100% sure that you're going to submit your application, don't send out these requests, because the individuals that are getting these recommendations, they won't know that you're not finishing it. And so that's taking time out of their day. So make sure you're going to submit your application if you go ahead and send those out. It's also really important to let them know that you've sent the request so that they can check their email. It might end up in a junk or a spam folder. If for some reason they're having difficulty and they're not getting the emails from the system, make sure that you reach out to me or you have them reach out to me so we can do a workaround. It is your responsibility to log back into the application to make sure that they're completed, and we don't accept written letters of recommendation. So if you already have letters of recommendation for other awards or applications, that's great, but unfortunately, we're not able to utilize them. So this is what it's going to look like. So there's a third-party section within the application, and you will have to go in and email the individuals to let them know that you've requested this. We have sample language for you for your email, so you can cut and paste this directly to the individuals that you're requesting this information from. And so this is the wording that we have for your recommendation profile. And just so that you can know, this is what the recommendation profile looks like. So the reason that we do recommendation profiles and not recommendation letters is that it really allows our review committee to judge students on the same items. So what they'll do is they'll talk a little bit about you. They'll give you 3 adjectives that describe you, and then they're going to score you on these variables right here. And then there is an opportunity for them to comment, to talk a little bit more about you. And then finally, we've got the submission. So the final review. We have a marketing component where we want you to talk about how you heard about us. And again, we're just trying to make sure that we're reaching all the right students. And so it helps us to know where you've gotten your information about Legacy from. There is an opportunity to view your application with all of your answers. So, you can right-click print and then save as a PDF, and then that will allow you to see your entire application in its entirety. And remember that once you submit, you're not able to make any changes to your application. So make sure that everything is in there. Especially in regards to the financial component, we are hoping that you don't submit until you have that FAFSA back. So I will send out reminders to students, in February to remind you to make sure that you have everything done and that you've gone in to submit. If you log off and then you log back in, this is what your page is going to look like. This is your dashboard. And so it will tell you that you're submitted, and then it also has that option for the third parties. And then you want to make sure that everything else is submitted. So some scholarship tips, definitely brag about yourself. This is the time to talk about all the great things that you've done. Spelling and capitalization counts. Make sure you answer all of the questions completely. I think it's important to type your essays in Word first and then paste into the online application. That way you can make sure that there's no spelling errors and things like that. I would definitely recommend that you print your application, read it out loud, find a reviewer. They can sometimes catch things that you might miss. Give your references ample time to complete the request forms. And if you, make sure that you've gone and uploaded the correct documents. So take your time. And then as always, don't wait until the last minute to submit. Computers have glitches, and I don't want a computer issue to, ruin your day. The deadline is firm and we're not able to extend that. There's some essay tips. This PowerPoint is available on our website. So please read through. We have lots of great essay tips for you as well. And then contact us if you've got questions. So again, I'm available at any time. This is our phone number to the office as well as my email. So if you have a question when you're in the midst of applying, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to answer questions. If you have specific questions about any part of it, whether it's the financial component, where to put things in regards to extracurriculars or volunteer activities, please don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you very much for watching.